All right, guys, so I'm about to go inside the BMW iX5 Hydrogen and have some fun with the car on this snow course right here. So I'm going to be doing some dynamic driving. I'll be talking about the driving experience and hopefully we get some drifts in. So let's hop in and see how this car drives. Yesterday, we had a chance to talk about the car with the engineers. We've explained the fuel cell hydrogen technology and a little bit of the platform architecture. But today, it's really the time where I get behind the wheel at the BMW testing proving grounds in Arjeplog, Sweden. And I'll have the chance to do some dynamic driving with the car. But the idea is really to see how the car handles in cold weather and also to see if the driving dynamics of the car are similar to, let's say, your regular X5 plug-in hybrid or any other BMW electric car, basically. It's minus 10 Celsius today, so it's quite cold. So with that being said, here we go. The idea with the car really is that when a customer walks into a hydrogen car, he doesn't really want to feel the difference, right? So he just wants to be familiar with a BMW X5, for example. So the driving dynamics should not be significantly different than what you get in a fully electric car. So yesterday I had a chance to get a ride with the engineers and I experienced that driving on public roads. And my first impressions were that you get a similar feel that you would get from driving an i4 and iX, right? So you still have the same components like the brake regeneration and the coasting feature. So that way you can experience the one pedal feel in the B mode. You can use eventually the adaptive mode. But as far as the driving dynamics and all of that, nothing should have changed because the car weighs the same as the BMW X5 plug-in hybrid 45e. It's really well balanced, so the balance of the car has not changed. The steering input, it's exactly what you would expect probably from an electric car, so you can probably adjust the steering input eventually when the production car comes out, so you can go into a sport mode. So if you want to get a lot more sportiness and a lot more heaviness in the steering wheel, you can do that. But once again, this is an X5, it's not an M car. The idea is not to prove that you can beat any track records with the car, but it's really to see how you can use the car as a daily driver, to see also if it's suitable for long road trips. And of course, if you're the customer that's more on the dynamic side and you want to have some fun with the car, you can certainly do that. And in this case, I'm on winter tires, rear wheel drive. If you really want to spin the car, you can definitely do that. So of course, you might be wondering by now, why am I here in northern Sweden? Well, because all the BMW cars and all the cars in general have to be tested in extreme weather conditions. So, summertime you might end up in the Death Valley in the US where temperatures can go to 110 Fahrenheit. And then of course, then you need to go to the opposite and test the car in very cold weather. And that's why BMW has a testing facility here. You might have seen a lot of the spy photos in the past. A lot of them come from here. And today, like I said, it's minus 10 Celsius. It can get a lot colder here depending on the month. So that's really the idea of testing the cars here. And of course, you're getting a lot of snow, so you're able to see how the car handles. Another interesting tidbit that I've learned actually today, it's that this particular BMW iX5 Hydrogen, it actually uses the electric motor from the iX. It's kind of like a 1-1 fit with this car. So basically the driving experience kind of feels a little bit like an iX, and especially like an electric car. The software platform, it's unified across all the BMW electrified models. What that really means is that you have the latest traction control in there. You also have all the driving modes from sport to comfort. You can configure that. You can configure the steering input, the pedal feel, same thing that you would do in the iX and i4. And that's really my first impression right now. It really feels like any electric car. If you wouldn't see the hydrogen sign inside the car or the decals on the outside, I would say that this is a fully electric iX5 with a normal drivetrain, but it's still electric, only this time the energy is being produced by the hydrogen tanks. So that's kind of the beauty of this car. You are still getting an electric car experience. So let's say you are into electric cars and that's something that you want to own in the future. Now BMW, it's likely to give you the option to drive a hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle basically. So that way you get the best of both worlds. Of course, with the hydrogen car, you are getting a lot faster fill up time. So if you go to a hydrogen station, you can fill up the iX5 in 3 to 5 minutes probably. And in this prototype, you get about 300 miles, 500 kilometers range. We will see when the production series car comes out, if that figure stays the same or BMW managed to increase that a little bit. So some of you might be wondering when we will see the first production series of a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. BMW says they have not decided yet, but the plans could hint to a production series towards the end of this decade. But towards the end of this year, actually, there will be a small fleet of BMW iX5 hydrogen vehicles produced, and those will be handed out to specific media or different people to test the cars in real life conditions in several markets. So we should be able to see some more real life reviews towards the end of this year and even next year. But what's interesting about this car, and especially, since they share some of the components with the electric cars, really how easy you can actually drift and go fast, because you don't have to apply the brakes too much. You can just be in the B mode, the more aggressive one pedal feel mode, and the car will do the braking for you. Overall, it just feels like a smaller iX, honestly. They're very, very different cars, but the driving experience is not significantly different. It's extremely comfortable if you want to go at low speeds. Of course, you can pick up a lot of speed in a car that has the instant torque available immediately, so you can really give it some quick speed. All right, so some of you might be wondering, what's the future of fuel cell electric vehicles or hydrogen power vehicles? Well, I can foresee a world where you will still have electric vehicles, you'll still have some combustion engines, and of course, now you might also have a hydrogen power car. And this is where BMW is investing its resources really to offer some alternative to their customers, because even though often journalists and even automakers speak about a 2030 cutout for combustion power engines and fully move to electric cars, that might not be possible. There's still plenty of markets, underdeveloped markets, where the infrastructure is not there for electric vehicle. Maybe the cost is too high, so there will still be an alternative for those people. They will have to buy, or they can buy, a combustion powered BMW. But you also might have this option of a fuel cell electric vehicle, which really bridges that gap. So I can even imagine my world where I own an electric vehicle for my daily driving, so you can run your normal errands with a car like the i4 or maybe the upcoming iX1, which is a more practical car for the city. But at the same time, if I want to take a longer road trip and I don't have the option to take my electric car, mostly because there is no infrastructure to charge the car, to get to my destination, I can see my garage having a hydrogen powered BMW, which basically will give me that peace of mind that I can fill up quickly, maybe 3, 4, or 5 minutes fill up time, and I can get a range of 500-600 kilometers, 300 miles, and that will allow me to travel further and have a road trip with the family, for example. So it's not one or the other, basically. I mean, there could be a world where we have a lot of electric vehicles, but at the same time there could be a small fleet of hydrogen powered cars, and that will give you the option to still drive with a zero emission vehicle, basically. So if you care about the environment and you still want to be conscious about that, then the hydrogen powered car will actually give you that. So as we approach the end of this decade, we're likely going to learn more about BMW's plans when it comes to hydrogen. Of course, the infrastructure is a huge topic, so hopefully there will be enough initiatives around the world and enough buy-in from governments or local governments where that infrastructure will build up, because infrastructure is always such an important point when it comes to both electrified vehicles and hydrogen powered cars. You kind of rely on that, and that's really your only way to be successful with a product in the market. So I'm gonna end this video right here, but don't go anywhere because we're gonna be doing some more drifting, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so my journey with the BMW iX5 Hydrogen comes to an end for now. I truly hope that you've learned something from this video. It has been a couple of fantastic days here at the Arctic Circle, and especially I was quite privileged to be let in by BMW into their testing facility. It was interesting to see behind the scenes, but of course also to learn quite a bit more about this iX5 Hydrogen. Hopefully we will have a chance to drive the car in the near future, and I believe next year there will be some cars on the road, so a lot more testing will come out of this, and of course we will learn more about BMW's plans to have a hydrogen powered vehicle on the road by the end of this decade. So for now, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the BMW Block family. And please let me know in the comments below if you prefer a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle or you're still a fan of electric vehicles. Let me know. And once again, this is the BMW iX5 hydrogen.